had cataract surgery and you notice over months or even years after surgery that the vision is slowly starting to get more blurry, go see your ophthalmologist and they can check for posterior capsular opacification. Treatment for posterior capsular opacification involves a laser procedure called a YAG laser capsulotomy. In this procedure, we use a laser to create a small opening in the posterior capsule to allow light to pass through more easily. This procedure is typically quick and relatively painless, and it can improve vision significantly. One last possibility after cataract surgery I'll discuss is that the lens may not be providing the desired vision. Some patients may notice that the vision after surgery is not quite as crisp as they wanted. The surgeon may consider switching out the lens to a different one that may provide better vision for you. Patients with a history of LASIK, PRK, or radial keratotomy have a higher risk of this occurring. Our formulas to choose which intraocular lens to implant into the eye are a little bit less accurate for patients who previously have had vision correction surgery because the cornea of patients who have received these surgeries has been reshaped. Since LASIK or PRK involves removing thin layers of tissue from the cornea to reshape it, it's a bit more difficult to accurately measure the eye and determine the appropriate lens power for cataract surgery. We have special formulas to help us choose the correct intraocular lens for post-LASIK corneas, but still, there's an increased risk of a refractive surprise, meaning some leftover nearsightedness or farsightedness after cataract surgery. I know we discussed a lot of potential complications, but remember, cataract surgery still remains as one of the safest and most well-tolerated surgeries that exist. Several studies in the medical literature state that about 95% of patients are satisfied with the procedure and would recommend it to others. But, like anything else in medicine, and especially in surgery, a perfect outcome after cataract surgery is not 100% guaranteed. Okay, now that we've covered the risks and benefits of the procedure, let's talk about the different available lens options. I've discussed lens options for cataract surgery in depth in a previous video that you can watch here. But let's review them briefly now. There's three important concepts to discuss first before discussing the different lens options. The first topic is
Yo, what's
accommodation
up?
and presbyopia. When we're all younger, such as in our teens and 20s, our eyes have the ability to autofocus. So, for example, if we're looking at something far away, then we want to focus on something up close, look what happens to the lens inside our eye. The lens, it's flexible. It's able to change its shape so that we can keep the close objects in focus. Throughout the day, the lens is constantly changing its shape so that we can keep everything in focus. This process is called accommodation. As we all age though, we lose this ability of autofocus or accommodation. This is called presbyopia. Most people begin to develop presbyopia around age 40. And that's
Hola,
why as we
persona.
all get to our 50s and
Hola,
older,
Blink.
we start needing reading glasses to see
Hello,
things up
Blink.
close. The second concept to understand is visual zones. It's useful to think about our visual world in
Muchas
three visual
gracias,
zones. The
persona.
near zone consists of the visual field about 1 foot away. Things that we usually do in the near zone include using our cell phone or tablet, looking at the food on our plate,
Thank
reading our
you,
books,
James.
menus, or prescription bottles, hobbies such as arts and
What they
crafts,
say, Jaime?
sewing, or knitting. The intermediate zone consists of things that are about 2 to 3 feet away. Everyday activities using intermediate vision include computer or laptop use, putting on makeup or
Thank you
looking at
so
the
much.
mirror, looking at the speedometer or GPS while driving a car, looking at items in the grocery aisle, and cooking. The distance zone comprises of objects further away, about 5 feet and further. Things that we use our distance vision for include looking at street signs, particularly when we're driving, watching TV or movies,
Aaron,
reading
what
the
did they
chalkboard or
talk?
the whiteboard in front of the class, and outdoor activities like hiking or playing sports. When we're younger, we're able to maintain everything in focus because we still have our ability of accommodation. So if you wanted to watch TV, then look at your phone, there's no problem. However, when we're older, we lose this ability. This photo simulates what that's like. Notice we have the distance zone in focus, but now our intermediate and near zones are blurred. This is why an eye doctor may prescribe bifocal or progressive glasses, which have special, stronger lens powers towards the bottom of the lens, allowing you to see things up close. The last concept we'll discuss is astigmatism. Astigmatism is when the surface of the eye, or the cornea, is irregularly shaped. Usually, the cornea is supposed to be flat, like a ball, but in some people, the cornea is shaped more like an egg, which causes blurriness
Oh,
and distortion of vision. There are special lenses that can account for your astigmatism,
I just
allowing you to
started
see more
drawing
clearly,
anime
and I'll discuss them in the next section. Okay, now that we
about a few
understand
weeks
these
ago. I
concepts,
think that's
let's review
like
the different lens
3 weeks
options for
ago.
cataract surgery. The first lens is a monofocal lens. This basic single-focus lens
That means I
optimizes
have
vision
to
for
be
focus
watching
hours.
anime.
Most
So
people choose to have their lens set for distance vision, but since they can only
I'm
provide
new to
one
the
level
game.
vision, you'll need 1 or 2 pairs of glasses to see near and intermediate objects. Some patients, particularly those with a history of myopia or nearsightedness, or those that do a lot of near work, like reading books or
Never really
reading,
liked it,
may
but
prefer
then
to have
Charlie.
their focus set to near vision than wear glasses for intermediate and distance vision. The pros of these monofocal lenses are that they provide crisp, clear vision for one visual zone, and they're covered by Medicare and private insurance. The cons are, though, that you'll require one or two extra pairs of glasses for the other visual zones. For example, if you set your vision to distance, you'll need glasses for near and intermediate vision. The next option for lenses is monovision. Monovision is when one eye is set for distance and one eye is set for near, decreasing your dependence on reading glasses. With some time, the brain adapts and is able to blend the vision from both eyes together, giving you a larger range of vision. Monovision is usually done using monofocal lenses, although some eye surgeons also aim for a little bit of monovision with multifocal or extended depth of focus lenses, which we'll discuss next. The pros with the monovision approach is that you'll have a larger range of vision and a decreased dependence of needing reading glasses. The cons, though, is because the focus points of the eyes are different,
Hello,
you may
Kane.
have difficulty
Yeah, you can
reading
get a
vision and
commission.
sight perception.
I'll
Some
do that.
patients may also not be able to adapt to the blended vision. So we may recommend to do a trial of the blended vision with contact lenses first to see if it's a good option for you. The next type of lenses consists of multifocal or extended depth of focus lenses. These special lenses are able to provide a range of vision, allowing you to see in two or in some cases all three zones of vision. Some examples of lenses in this category include the Symphony and Vivity lenses, which usually provide distance and intermediate vision, or the Synergy and the Panoptics lens, which can provide distance, intermediate, and near vision. The pros of these lenses is that since they deliver a larger range of vision, there's a decreased dependence on reading glasses. That sounds
So
great, right?
you have to
You now
hit
have
me up.
lenses that help you decrease your dependence on reading glasses, so you don't necessarily always have to carry one or two pairs of glasses on.
Through
But there are
Instagram.
some trade-offs with these lenses that you need to be aware of. One is
Send me a
lenses can
DM
produce rings around lights, and these might be more noticeable at night while you're driving. There
on
can
my
also be
IG.
decreased contrast sensitivity or sharpness, particularly in low light conditions. Despite these trade-offs, these lenses have a high satisfaction rate. With 95 to 97% of patients who receive multifocal or extended depth of focus lenses, they choose to have the same lens implanted again. But the thing to remember with these lenses are that there may still be some instances where you might need to wear reading glasses, particularly for very small print up close or in dark lighting conditions. For the majority of the time, though, during regular everyday activities, you'll be fine without glasses. The next set of lenses, toric lenses, are for patients who have astigmatism. The purpose of the toric lens is to account for the astigmatism in the cornea, allowing light to be more effectively focused on the retina, providing clearer vision. During cataract surgery, we're mostly working on the lens inside the eye, so we aren't significantly changing the shape of the cornea. Therefore, if you have astigmatism
Oh
before
yeah, I
cataract
do.
surgery, and if you don't put in a toric lens or do a corneal procedure to account for your astigmatism, you'll still have blurry vision at all distances and will need glasses to correct your astigmatism. All of the above lenses mentioned previously are toric options.
I mean,
The
I do
pros of these
hyper
lenses are that they
realism,
provide
so
crisp vision in patients with astigmatism and a decreased reliance on glasses. The cons with these lenses is that the surgical process is a little bit longer to line up the lens, but an experienced cataract surgeon can do that for you. The last type of lenses I'll cover are the light adjustable lenses. These are a newer class of lenses in which the power of the lens can be adjusted in the office
man,
after it's been implanted. Basically, how it works
let
is
me
we
show you
perform
this
a typical
drawing.
cataract
I
surgery,
did
and during surgery, we'll implant a light adjustable lens. After the surgery, you come into the doctor's office for several visits and receive
I don't know
light
if you can
treatments in
see
the
that.
office to adjust the power of the lens so that you
So
can set
that's
the
a
focus
hyper
where you
realistic
want.
drawing.
These light treatments can also dial in astigmatism correction into the lens and help you correct the astigmatism. Depending on your preferences, this might require 2 or 3 different adjustments until you get that focus to a point you're satisfied with.
I don't know
After
if you
you
can
settle on a lens model that you
identify
like, you may come in
those.
for an additional visit for another light treatment to lock in the power of the lens. So with the light adjustable lens, you're looking at around 3 to 5 visits post-operatively to dial in the power of the lens. And since you're receiving a special light adjustable lens and receiving several additional light treatments that require quite a bit of
Hey,
time and expensive equipment to
nah,
deliver
nah.
the light treatment,
You will not
the light
sleep.
adjustable lenses are usually the most expensive lens options
Vokaborki.
that surgeons offer for cataract surgery. Okay, now that we discussed these
About
options for
30 minutes
cataract
ago, I was
surgery, let's
thinking of
discuss
calling
another
you.
type of lens.
Not knowing
During femtosecond laser-assisted
you're not
cataract
asleep.
surgery, your eye surgeon uses a laser, precise, computer-controlled cuts in the eye. During regular manual cataract surgery, we usually perform
Yeah, thank you,
capsulotomy,
Aaron.
meaning we open the front capsule of the This opening in the front of the lens allows us to insert our instruments into the lens to suck out the cataract. The laser, as opposed to a handheld needle, is able to make a perfectly centered
Are you in the
in the front of the lens. This precise opening in the capsule helps to
anime?
make sure we have a perfectly centered lens in the eye at the end of the surgery. This is particularly important for toric and
Hello guys,
confocal
thank you for the likes.
focus lenses
I
because they
hope
need
you
to be
subscribe. It
precisely
really helps a
surgically
lot.
placed to work correctly. The laser is also able to subdivide and soften the cataract, making cataract removal easier for the surgeon. Lastly, the laser is also able to correct a small amount of astigmatism by making small incisions in the cornea. For routine cases of cataract surgery, femtosecond laser is not necessary. Many studies have shown that safety outcomes for both regular manual cataract surgery and laser-assisted cataract surgery are similar. There are certain cases, though, where femtosecond laser
So
surgery is especially useful. For example, in multifocal
on
or
to the
toric
next.
lenses where lens centration and precise positioning is critical to crisp vision. Laser is also helpful for higher-risk cataracts such as those more difficult or severe
I
with
think I'll
treatment
draw for
or
some
cataract.
30 minutes and
That's
then
because these
go
tougher
to sleep.
cataracts require more manipulation and energy to break down the cataract and to remove it from the eye. The laser makes this process easier by subdividing and softening the
Okay,
cataract.
so
Okay, now that we discussed the different lens and laser options for cataract surgery, let's talk about what to expect at the day of surgery. You'll want to coordinate transportation to and from the surgery center before your surgery date because you won't be able to drive yourself home after the procedure as you'll still be under the influence of anesthesia. In preparation for the anesthesia you'll receive for surgery, on the morning of surgery, you'll want to be NPO. NPO is an abbreviation for the Latin phrase nil for os, which means nothing by mouth. This means no food or drink the morning of surgery.
this.
Generally, you can take your regular medications though with a small sip of water. Since there's a low risk of bleeding with cataract surgery, patients usually don't need to stop taking blood thinners prior to cataract surgery. However, doctors may instruct patients to stop blood thinners if the cataract surgery is combined with another procedure such as a glaucoma surgery. It's best to discuss with your doctor if you have specific questions regarding your medications and cataract surgery. You also don't want to wear any makeup, lotions, creams, perfume, or aftershave the day of your surgery. On the morning of surgery, you'll come to the ambulatory surgery center about an hour before your scheduled surgery time. This allows enough time for you to complete your registration at the front desk and also to get situated and ready for surgery. After registration at the front desk, you'll be brought to the preoperative area where a nurse will ask you about your medical history, medications, allergies, as well as measure your vital signs such as your blood pressure and your heart rate. They'll confirm which eye is receiving surgery and you'll complete a consent form for the surgery. The nurse will also give you dilating eye drops, numbing eye drops, as well as antibiotic eye drops. Lastly, they'll insert an IV, which the anesthesiologist will later use to give you medications. And of course, don't forget the hairnet. At our surgery center, you won't need to change into a gown, so wear comfortable clothing. When you're ready for surgery, you lie on a wheeled gurney or a stretcher. If you'll be receiving a toric lens, your eye surgeon will use a marker or other tool to make a few small marks on your cornea, which they'll use later to align your toric lens during surgery. If you're receiving laser-assisted cataract surgery, you'll first be brought to the laser machine. We'll make sure you're properly positioned. During the laser and during cataract surgery, it's very important to keep your eyes and head nice and still. You'll be instructed to look straight ahead at a few blinking lights while we position the laser dart onto the eye. Once everything is in place, we perform the laser procedure, which usually takes around 30 seconds.
Hey,
After the laser procedure, you'll be transported to the
God, what's up?
If you're not receiving the laser procedure, you would skip that previous step.
You are using Nana's account.
Instead. Once you're in the operating room, you'll basically have a pit crew of technicians, nurses, your anesthesiologist, and your surgeon to get you and your eye ready for surgery. We'll use tape to help remind you to keep your head still during surgery. We'll connect you to heart monitors and oxygen sensors so that we can keep track of your vital signs during surgery.
I'll be a cry,
The
Charlie.
anesthesiologist will give you light sedation to get you nice and relaxed for surgery. It's not full general anesthesia. You won't be totally knocked out and there's no breathing tube, but sometimes we'll give you some oxygen via nasal cannula. A nurse will then thoroughly clean the eye using betadine solution. We'll then cover your body and your face with sterile tapes. After we've scrubbed our hands and we're properly gloved and gowned, we position a microscope with an obnoxiously bright light over your eye. Then we perform the surgery. After the surgery, we put some ointment on the eye and cover it with an eye patch and a plastic shield. You go home to rest, and then we see you in the office the next day. There are some important post-operative instructions you should be aware of. We send you home with a pair of sunglasses on the day of surgery. It's going to come in handy because a lot of patients notice that their vision is a lot brighter after
We
cataract.
clap that.
That's because they've adapted to slightly darkened vision to a hazy cataract, and suddenly, after that cataract is out and replaced with a clear lens, everything is much brighter. And for some, it might actually be a little bit uncomfortable. So I recommend using those sunglasses whenever you go outside, at least for the first 2 weeks, to help you while you adjust to the brighter vision. Those sunglasses also protect your eyes from any debris, pollen, or wind in the environment when you go outside. As an eye doctor, I generally recommend everyone wear UV blocking sunglasses whenever they go outside anyway, post op or not. So I think it's a good habit to have. We also give you a clear plastic shield after surgery. I recommend you place the shield over your eye at night before sleeping for 1 week. We also give you tape so you can keep the shield there while you're sleeping.
They need chillo. I don't know that.
From accidentally rubbing your eye on your pillow while you're sleeping. You don't need to do any special head positioning. It's okay to sleep on your side, on your back, however you normally sleep after surgery. I also recommend some activity restrictions after surgery. I recommend no heavy lifting, as in nothing over 15 pounds, no bending at the waist, and no strenuous exercise that involves a lot of bouncing for 2 weeks. I also recommend no eye rubbing and no splashing water directly into the eye. No swimming or hot tubs for 2 weeks. You can shower, you can wash your face, and you can wash your hair starting the day after surgery. But you either want to turn your head away from the water in the shower or just gently close the eye that received surgery when washing. This is all just to prevent soap and water and bacteria from getting in contact with your healing eye. I also recommend no eye makeup for 2 weeks after the surgery. A lot of patients also ask me about cooking after surgery. I recommend that patients take a break and let others cook for them, at least for the first 2 to 3 days after surgery. After that, you can ease back into cooking, but same rules apply. No heavy lifting, for example, a large pot of water, and avoid bending at the waist for the first 2 weeks. Also, you want to make sure to avoid any steam or debris getting into your eyes while you're sleeping. In terms of going back to work, sometimes it depends on exactly what you do for work and how you're healing. But generally, most patients can return to work within a week after surgery. Patients also ask me about driving after cataract surgery. In California, at least, the DMV screening standard is vision of 20/40 or better in at least one eye. This is one of those case-by-case situations, and I recommend discussing with your eye doctor.
So if you're just joining me, I'm drawing Naruto.
If the surgery went smoothly and patients are feeling and seeing great, you can usually return to driving as soon as 1 or 2 days after surgery. Other tips I recommend are to make sure to wash your hands with soap and water whenever you use your eye drops, or if you put your hands anywhere near your eyes. There are some symptoms you can expect after surgery. You'll have a little bit of eye discomfort, greeniness, dryness, itching, and irritation as that corneal incision is healing. Your eye may also be a little bit red, and your vision may be a little bit blurry for the first few weeks after surgery. You may also have some mild swelling around the eyelid, and also you might notice some new floaters.
I hope you like it.
You may also have some grogginess or nausea from the anesthesia. These symptoms are generally normal and usually improve after a few days, or maybe in the case of floaters, over a few months. There are some symptoms, though, that are concerning, and you should let your eye doctor know immediately if you're feeling any of the following: severe pain, headache, or extreme pressure around the eye, a sudden decrease in vision, worsening redness in the eye, continued sensitivity to light after a few days, or a sudden increase in lots of floaters or seeing flashing lights, or if you see a shadow or shade appearing in your field of vision. These particular symptoms may be a sign of early complications such as high intraocular pressure, infection, or retinal tears and detachment, and should be treated as soon as possible. So, make sure to contact your eye doctor if you have any of these concerning symptoms. The last subject we'll talk about is the recovery of your vision after cataract surgery. Most people see better 1 to 3 days after surgery, but it could take 4 to 8 weeks for the cornea and eye to stabilize and fully heal after surgery. Everyone heals at different rates. For example, patients with a history of diabetes generally take a little bit longer to heal, and patients who have a history of radial keratotomy sometimes require 3 to 4 months before the cornea and refraction stabilizes. We usually recommend patients wait at least 4 to 6 weeks before getting checked for a new pair of glasses after surgery. This is because the prescription of your eyes may be changing slightly for the first few weeks after surgery as the eye is healing. Okay, so that was a thorough overview of everything to expect before, during, and after cataract surgery. I hope this video covered a lot of the most common questions you may have regarding cataract surgery. If you found this information helpful, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel for future updates. And if you live in the Los Angeles, Orange County, or Inland Empire area and are interested in the cataract evaluation, feel free to visit our website or give our phone number or call to make an appointment today. you made it to the end of this video, that probably means that you're really interested in eye health and the motivation to improve and preserve your vision. You can watch my video here to learn more about the best ways to slow down the progression of cataract. I'm Dr. Michael Chulo with Hunter Hills Eye Care. See you next time.
Hey, what's up? I'm BKHD here, and welcome to your first look and hands-on of everything Apple
BKHD.
just unveiled today at the
If I don't
2025
skip this video,
This
they'll get me on
side-by-side
copyright.
Have you been diagnosed with cataracts or considering cataract surgery? I'm Dr. Michael Chu. I'm a board-certified ophthalmologist with Hunter Hills Eye Care. And in this video, I'll discuss everything you need to know about cataract surgery. I'll talk about how we plan for it, how it's done, risks of the procedure, post-operative instructions, and what to expect during the whole process.
Looking for a video to watch on YouTube. Give me a second. Oh my goodness. I'm watching. Okay.
The exploding eye. Now, most lectures that we give for audiences focus on pathology. You see a patient, you look at findings, you try to explain it, write an article, give a presentation. But I thought we could do some back-to-the-bench experimentation. And so what I did was I ordered a big bag of pig eyes online. It's amazing what you can get online. And we're going to subject these pig eyes to various amounts of trauma. We'll start by lighting them on fire, subjecting them to heat injury. And then we're going to take these pig eyes and subject them to various chemicals, acids and bases. We're going to see what happens to these eyes over time. Then we're going to basically use various projectiles, BB guns, airsoft, paintball, and we're going to shoot these pig eyes and see how they react to various trauma. Then I've got some high-powered industrial lasers that I ordered from Hong Kong, and we're going to shoot some lasers at these pig eyes, and we're going to see what happens. And finally, I went to the local fireworks store, and we'll try various explosive devices on these eyes. Now, the point is not to be entertaining, well, hopefully it is, but the point is not to be entertaining, but to give us a little bit better example of how the eye works, some of the trauma that our patients can experience out in the wild, so that we have a better sense on how to treat these people. So, let's begin. We'll begin with heat and fire injury. Now, it's interesting, the eye is a very sensitive structure, and yet very rarely do we ever see heat fire injuries. It's amazing what you can do with WD-40. But, I trained at a hospital, a very large one, that had a burn facility in it, and yet I was very rarely ever called to see eye burns. And the reason why is that the eye is protected by the skull from pretty much all direction from most trauma, including heat. It also helps that the eye is full of water. If you take a balloon and hold it over a flame, it's going to pop almost instantly. But put some water in that balloon, you can hold it over a fire, and it doesn't pop. And why is that? The reason is because water is a great conductor of heat. It lets heat away from that area. And even though it looks charred, that's actually just soot from the candle. The balloon is relatively well protected. It also helps that the eye is covered by a thin layer of tears. And that tear can point to small flames, which explains why you can put out a fire with your fingers if necessary. So a couple of protective mechanisms for heat injuries. But we do see some on occasion. So let's go over them. Cigarette burns is one of the things I see every once in a while. Now, it's been maybe a decade since I've been over at Disney World. But the last time I was there was very early in my eye training, and I found myself focused on what you think about all the time. You guys probably put eyes all the time. I was terrified walking around Disney World because there were all these tourists, Europeans, that had cigarettes held at waist level, waving them around, and children running around at the same height, eye height. So I was constantly paranoid that a child was going to run into a cigarette. And we do see that on occasion, but not as much as you would think. The interesting thing about cigarettes is they burn hot, but it's a mild flame. And you can put it out and do it fast enough on your hand without hurting yourself. In fact, you can even put it out on your tongue if you're of that sort. And the tongue is covered by a thin layer of tears, which helps. So if we put a cigarette out on a pig eye and wash this off, surprisingly very little damage. And this seems to correlate with what I've seen in the office. Usually when a child brings in, or the parents or the grandparents are extremely embarrassed, little nervous, the kid's crying, they've got junk in their eye, but for the most part,
Yeah, Naruto, Charlie.
bad injuries from cigarettes. Have you guys ever seen an electronic cigarette? I ordered one. I don't smoke. I just ordered one just to see what they look like. But basically, it has a battery component to it. The nicotine is in this end. You inhale through this end, and the other end has a sort of plastic simulated flame or char. And yeah, doesn't hurt at all. No burn injuries. If you need another reason not to smoke, there it is. All right, sparkler injuries are a little bit more intense. Um, Sparklers are dangerous not so much because they're flame, but because they burn so hot. They burn hot because they're made of magnesium. Magnesium is the same stuff that's in this magnesium fire starters they scrape off that campers sometimes use. Magnesium burns at 3,000 to 4,000 degrees, extremely hot. So this is a strip of magnesium and dip it in water, and you can see that it doesn't really quench with water quite as well as you would expect. I mean, it takes a lot to put out a magnesium fire. So here's some sparklers. Now the sparkler will go out if you put it in water, but it takes a couple of seconds to go out. And so here we go. So it burns out. So it will burn out, but the tear film has very little chance to put a sparkler fire out if it's jabbed in the eye. As you can see here, some significant burn trauma. And surprisingly, I do see these injuries on occasion, usually in a young child, 18 months, holding a hand, someone holds it to a sparkler, and they jab themselves in the eye because they're kind of uncontrolled anyway. And it usually looks something like this. The sharp end goes up underneath the eyelid because this is a puncture. And then they got all this junk in their eye, a big abrasion, maybe a small burn, and it requires more lenses and washing out. There's crying, it's ER, it's just a mess. Fortunately, I haven't seen any burns that were terrible from this because it's usually momentarily, but it's something to be aware of. So sparklers are dangerous. The third heat injury we see is the curling iron, which happens on occasion. Curling irons can actually get a very high temperature. This one is set for about, 430 to 450 degrees. And if you think about it, that's the same temperature as your oven if you're making a pizza. So imagine that oven grill touching the eye. And so it really can cause some significant burns. But fortunately, once again, this is usually a glancing burn.
Hello guys, if you're just joining me, I'm
even though it's hot,
trying to
you don't actually see as much damage
draw
as you
Naruto,
might expect.
making a
This is
sketch
not a burn of a patient, but this is what I see. It
from
usually
start
is
to
a linear,
finish.
whitish, hazy
I hope you
format.
like it,
It's dehydrated a bit from the
and if you
heat.
do like it, kindly subscribe to my
Dehydrated
channel.
control
It helps a
my
lot.
eyes. In most of the
And
cases,
thank you
most of
guys
my
for the
eyes have
subscription.
done quite well afterwards. But heating iron. Our take-home point with this, though, is that burn injuries rare, and at least in my experience, they don't cause significant trauma if they're moderate. Our next topic, projectile eye injuries. Now, I thought about talking about handguns and rifles, but it's pretty obvious that a handgun or rifle is going to destroy the eye. So instead, I figured I would focus on the three type of guns that we see most often in the clinic, and that's stuff that children have. And it's usually either a BB gun injury, airsoft injury, or a paintball gun. And let's see what kind of damage they can do. So let's begin with the BB gun. This is the classic Red Ryder BB gun produced by Daisy. It's been out forever. It's in many popular Christmas movies. This gun shoots a small pellet at 350 feet per second, which is relatively fast. Parrying and cocking it. A single cock is all it takes. And the BB comes out the end, styrofoam head, give you an idea of how this works. Now the danger of BB guns are that the pellet itself is made out of steel. It's a non-compressible steel covered by another alloy metal on top of it. But because it's steel, it doesn't really deform. So when it hits something, it doesn't crush, it immediately bounces off. So you see a lot of ricochet injuries, and that's the danger of BB gun. That's a little bit different than a pellet gun. A pellet or an air gun is something that can pump up very high, and they shoot at 1,000 feet per second, which is incredibly quick. They use pellets instead of BBs, which is usually a soft metal like lead that compresses as it flange in more aerodynamic shape. That flange expands as it goes down the barrel, engages the rifle in the barrel, so it spins on the way out much more accurate. And it was the classic Diablo shape. You can see that it crushes. This crushing is good because it doesn't ricochet as much. The downside, of course, is just the sheer speed at which these pellets come out. So to put things in perspective, a handgun shoots at about 1,000 feet per second as well. So this is about the same as a handgun. A rifle, though, something a hunter would use, is about 3,000 feet per second. So it's not quite as bad as that. But that's an air gun. Our next container is a paintball. Paintball was invented in the early 70s as a way for the logging industry and forestry to mark trees that were hard to get to. Instead of area marking a couple of trees.
I think I made a mistake with this.
Paintball gun. It has several parts. Usually a compressed cylinder of CO2 air that pumps air into the barrel itself. On top of that round thing is a it's a hopper, and that's where the paintballs go in. You load them through the top, they drop down into the barrel, and then the rest there closes out the ink. Face mask is crucial with this instrument. Also something for the mouth, so you don't break teeth if this thing hits you. That's a plug that you use from a tournament play, so people know that it's on safety. And let's shoot this head and we'll see what kind of cover we get on paintball. You gotta cover the mouth, otherwise you'll break teeth with this thing. That's why that mask looks that way. That's the paintball gun. Of course, it hits the eyes and significant trauma, right? Paintball itself is relatively heavy, especially compared to a BB, and it's filled with a non-toxic paint. It doesn't seem to really cause much problem. Okay. Interesting. The thing with the paintball is that this is the first gun that's meant to be shot at people, right? And interesting, this young man appears to be relatively resistant to paintball injuries. Maybe it's the hair, I don't know. But, so that's a big difference. This is meant to be shot at people. Airsoft is our final contender. Airsoft was also invented in the 70s, Hong Kong, China, because of the ban on the firearm owners. They come in different styles, a CO2-powered handgun, for example, which is kind of nice because you can kind of hold a gangster style, which is, anyway, it's useful. Anyway, there's also the spring-loaded guns, which are pretty accurate. But the most impressive type of airsoft is probably the electric one that can pump out a lot of pellets at a very rapid rate, as you can see here, which is quite incredible. Where was it on this? Okay, back to this. Oh, there we go. That's what. Let's see if this young man's not quite as resistant to the airsoft gun, as you can tell. But we love it. And now, we have two different guns. How do we judge how dangerous these guns are relative to each other as far as the outline? And one method we could do is we could calculate the kinetic energy. How much energy is traveling in that projectile when it hits the eye, and how much is transmitted to the eye? And we can calculate this relatively easy. It's a simple equation. Energy equals the mass,
count that.
That little pellet is, times the velocity, how fast it's going, squared. Instead of looking at equations, so let's just measure these things. So we take 100 BBs and you measure them on a gram scale. 100 comes out to 34 grams, so each BB weighs 0.34 grams. 10 paintballs comes out to 30 grams, so each paintball is 3 grams. That's like 10 times heavier. Okay. Airsoft come in different weights. 0.12 is what most starters use, but the most popular weight is 0.2 grams. So actually, about half the weight of it is still BB.
First time drawing Naruto. Freehand. I mean, first of all.
Airsoft is about half that, so that makes sense. Airsoft is always going to have it being much safer than it probably is.
What do you guys think?
Tremendous amount of
Hola, Mateo.
joules is 10 times higher for the most part than those other weapons. And finally, the pellet gun, just because it goes so fast, has a lot of energy as well. But let's not look at the equation. Let's actually do an experiment. This is called a ballistic pinwheel. It's a block of nylon. You shoot from the side, and it pushes this little scale, and using that, you can calculate how much you might be.
Just getting the outlines done.
Start by shooting with a BB gun, and we'll see how far this thing
So the drawing pops out.
shoot the end. And it's about 12.5 degrees, something like that. Okay. Let's repeat that. We'll use our airsoft. Let's take a single shot, and see what kind of energy is given. Okay, about 6.5 or 6. So about half. It's pretty consistent with our equation from before. Let's finally end with our paintball, and we'll see what that does. It blows it off. It doesn't even work. The ballistic pinwheel is not even made to measure something that high, and it looks like we knocked our scale off. And so that paintball really does transmit a lot of kinetic energy. But energy is not everything. The more important thing is penetration. After all, a bow and arrow and a baseball fast pitch may have the same kinetic energy, but one is more dramatic when it hits the head than the other. Same thing with a nail. A single nail can break a balloon extremely easy. But if you take
I hope the drawing is coming out
then try to break the balloon,
clean.
it's much more challenging. So it's not more so much force, but how much force that area is being transmitted over. And 100 nails are heartbreakers, right? So if you take a water balloon, this is
Nigga, why would I lie?
a rock, it can cause major issues. We need to weigh this thing. But there's a difference.
I mean, I have a couple of lives
Penetration is important.
I'm yet to post. I haven't had time to upload the lives. I think I'll do that this week.
A hole through the front of the BB,
You can check out most of my drawings.
comes out the back. We'll move the can though.
I did One Piece first time.
Let's try the airsoft.
Goku and Gohan first time. This is my first time drawing anime.
Looks like it bounced off. Let's check. Yep. Dented the can, but
Never
airsoft
tried that.
didn't penetrate.
I mean, there was a time I drew the Boondocks.
That soft plastic
Riley, and then what was it the other guy's name? Interesting why I would remember Riley and forget the other one. Huey, right? When he's my favorite. I'm thinking of doing hyper-realistic drawings of the Boondocks. I hope I get time to do that. And thank you for the rating. Hello, Judith. Thank you for joining. I hope you like my art.
So let's just take a big eye and see what happens. We'll start with a BB gun, and we'll shoot it in the eye and see what happens. So here it comes. Pretty neat, right? Did you guys miss that? Let's do it. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Ah, okay. Did you guys miss that? Let's do it.
Thank you.
Okay, here it comes. Amos. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a graphic demonstration, but BB guns penetrate really well. Let's try the airsoft. We'll see what happens. Single shot. Terrible point of equation. Holy moly, it didn't penetrate. It's interesting. Even if throw it on automatic at high rate, it doesn't get So airsoft really is safer. Not a lot of damage, but it's safer. Let's try our paintball gun. Completely destroys that eye. It's like hitting the camera.
Thank you so much.
So the paintball truly is dangerous.
Hello guys, thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the likes. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so. It helps a lot.
BB guns, high rate of penetration, paintball, a high rate of rupture of wood. Fortunately, I don't see these as often. I'll stress, though, that most of these injuries don't occur people playing tournament paintball and tournament airsoft. Most of these are accidents at home, kids messing with their guns in a room, their friend, get hit by point blank range, just like we saw, like some significant damage. Our take-home point, though, is that paintball truly is a very dangerous weapon if used improperly. Our next topic, chemical eye injuries. And by chemicals, I'm talking usually about acids and bases. So when I say acids, acetic acid, sulfuric acid, battery acid. And when I talk about bases, I mean things like bleach and oven and drain cleaner. And which one of these is most dangerous? We're always taught that bases are more dangerous to the eye than acids. And yet, why is that? Is that really true or not? I mean, it's one of those factor what you remember. Well, I thought I could do an experiment just to see which one really is more dangerous. So what I have here is sulfuric acid, battery acid. And I'm pouring this into a beaker that's filled with table sugar. And what you'll see here is that it reacts with the table sugar, and you get a very exothermic reaction. It produces heat, burns that sugar. You can think of this as tissue, and it produces carbon. And this carbon is just sort of left over around it. It's like a crust. And this is what happens with acids. When acids hit skin, they destroy skin, but they create coagulation and necrosis, and you get almost like a crust, an eschar, that protects it from penetrating deeper and deeper. So it's somewhat self-limiting. So acids, terrible damage, but in theory, are somewhat limited because of that effect. This is a little bit different than bases. Bases are caustic, and they denature.
You started in a visual arts class?
They don't create this crust. They go deeper, and they go deeper into the skin, and they keep
That's great.
damage until that reaction is completed.
Where are you from?
An example, this is obviously not truly a base, but just to kind of give you an idea of the type of damage that bases can cause. But once again, this is theoretical, right? I'm just telling you that bases are the reason to do this stuff, but we need to do some type of experiment to prove this to ourselves, and we'll walk away. And so what I have here is two glasses, and the glass on the right, I'm going to pour concentrated sulfuric acid, extremely powerful acid, battery acid.
Ghana.
And the left
Okay.
glass,
What part of Ghana? If you don't mind me asking.
So this is a high concentrated base on the left side. So acid on the right, base on the left. I took some big eyes, put them on wires, and we'll dip them into the solutions and we'll see what happens. And after a minute, you can see it starting to burn crisp on the outside, but give it a couple more minutes. And the base goes deeper and deeper on the left, and it's just liquefying that. While the right just kind of burns to a crust, a little bit deeper. Let's give it a couple more minutes and see what happens. Well, we're getting a little bit of an exothermic reaction here. The base is getting a lot hotter. Admittedly, that has a lot to do with the water, but the base is dangerous. And after a couple minutes, it falls off the wire. The eye is barely recognizable as an eye on the left side. So the base is truly significant damage.
What do you mean you don't know?
Which is what we're seeing there. The black uvea tissue is the retinal.
You don't know what part of Ghana you're coming from.
Faces truly cause a lot of issues here. This are two
That's
patients.
interesting.
Pimples in the eye. One has a red eye on the left, one has a white eye on the right. But which one is worse? Which is the worst injury? Well, red eye is a good thing after a chemical injury because yes, the eye is irritated. Sure, the conjunctival blood vessels are dilated, but at least they're there. When you have a white eye, that's when you get nervous because that means
I mean, stop lying.
vessels. And anytime you see cloudy cornea after chemical injury, it's a very obvious sign. If it's bad enough, cornea might scar and they never recover. They might require a corneal transplant. Unfortunately, these chemical injuries, they don't do real well with corneal transplants. A lot of supporting cells
Stop playing with me.
that produce epithelium, they just don't really
Oh,
respond
come on.
working right. And so in these patients, repeated corneal failures, then they might require some type of prosthetic cornea. This is that taper, that's a plastic cornea that's in the eye opposite of this surgery. This is the realm of the cornea surgeon. But these things are no fun. But if the alternative is no vision, then yes, it's laser. But the lifetime of maintenance to keep these things healthy. Our take on point here, though.
Aaron, what's up? Hey, Judith.
All right.
Hmm.
Our next topic is light damage. This is called a Crookes
Okay, where are you now?
device that was invented, I don't know, 50, 80, 100 years ago. But it's a partial vacuum light bulb that has these little veins of white and black panels. And the theory behind it originally was that light was absorbed by the black surface and bounced off the white and points out on energy. It's a solar mill, so to speak. The actual theory is a little bit different than this and how this works. It has to do with the sure air movements inside this thing. But it does demonstrate one thing, and that is that light can transmit energy, and that energy can create, in this case, motion.
Kumasi.
Now, this is pretty obvious.
Have you ever been to Tamale?
A magnifying glass and a ready supply of amps. And so I thought, well, maybe we could burn some eyes with a magnifying glass. You know what? It's pretty childish to use.
And how many languages do you speak?
So instead, I got a very large magnifying glass. This is a Fresnel lens that pulled off a projection TV. I've got it here on a frame. But this lens is basically something like a small magnifying glass, just much, much larger. We're going to start by burning some paper in here and see how fast it burns. Holding under. Pretty quick, right? Almost instantaneous. Measuring this typical
Okay.
device, it gives up about
How many languages do you speak?
so extremely hot. A lot of energy coming in. I'm not a big fan of animal testing, but I have no big problems with vegetable testing. So this is
What do you mean one?
And don't worry about
What language is that? Because, I mean, you're speaking English now, so, I mean,
under the heat as well. You can see he catches
I
fire.
saying you speak only English.
So, a lot of energy can be collected by the lens system. Eyes don't do so well there. Finally, we'll do an aluminum can. Multi-point aluminum is like 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. But once again, this smells relatively good. So the lens really can focus a lot of energy in a very small spot, which is pretty obvious here. Now the eye is the same thing. It's orders of magnitude smaller, but it's the same system. Fortunately, we don't see that.
I mean, I'm really enjoying drawing Naruto.
But this can occur from surgery. A long eye surgery, the eye is stuck in one position for a long period of time. But you can have solar damage from that. We don't see it as much now with modern surgical techniques, but certainly with prolonged retinal surgery or complicated surgery, this is something that's been seen in the past. I've seen a couple patients with this, relatively rare. The big question, of course, is laser light. People always worry about lasers. Laser light is
She said DB, yeah.
extremely intense in one spot. They're always asking, if I get shot by a laser and I can check out one in the store or a laser pointer in a crowd like this, am I going to have damage inside the eye? Well, probably not. There's been some studies looking at this effect, and what these researchers did was they took people who were scheduled for nucleation, they had like a melanoma that had to come out, the eye had to come out. So they said, well, you let us shoot a laser in your eye for 15 minutes and hold up the same spot. They've done that, and after they nucleate the eye, they look at it maybe a microscope, and they do see some histological changes. But
I can see that.
same spot in the retina, there's a chance of that happening. I would argue
Because
that
how do you not know where you're coming from?
stared at a reflection of the sun off some mirror for 15 minutes, you probably have some.
And speak only English.
So I think overall, consumer laser pointers are relatively safe. And this is different than this one. This is a very powerful laser I imported from Hong Kong, very good for customs. Most laser pointers have a power of 5 milliwatts. This one's 1,000 milliwatts. It's about 200 times
What do you mean you're not?
your average laser. I bought it originally because I really needed a way,
So how come you speak only English?
specifically lines of balloons in a straight line. And so this laser's very good at that specific task. It's pretty cool, huh? I had to turn it off pretty fast because it started to burn the blanket back there. but a very powerful laser. Now, I can't shoot your retinas on these big eyes that work because the point is just too cloudy, but I did want to sort of demonstrate that lasers really can create damage inside the eye. So we're going to shoot up the cornea and see what happens. We'll give it a couple minutes. You can see it burning away there. I put a special filter on my camera so it can go
I'm
off.
sure your dad owns a lot of gold.
You can see that there's a burn on this cornea. And that's not the right side. But these industrial lasers, these high power things, really can be quite dangerous for So, our take-home point here, though, is that light's relatively safe, especially laser pointers. They're relatively safe. I don't think they're going to Our final topic, explosive eye injuries. After all, the title is exploding eye, right? So, explosives. Does anyone know what this is? Yeah, this counts as MAD. Have you heard that? Don't worry, folks. This is a special effect. I think I'll probably mess up on that.
Oh, so you speak two languages.
MAD was an explosive device.
So what? You weren't considering English as a language, or you weren't considering Tree? Which one is it?
During the 16th century, they ended up banning the thing. You know this isn't true. MAD because the wick is on the side. MAD was specifically right. You would have the side, not the end. So, anyway. These devices, if they don't have as much gunpowder as they used to, can still create some significant damage, especially with holding the hand. But it's when you close container around an explosive that's going to do true damage. So, close the hand. This is how you use fingers. Let's see how this plays. So, other damage. But I am an eye doctor, I'm not a hand doctor, so let's see what happens when we use to the eye. So, once again, we'll take our pig eyes and we'll try our black cast firecracker. Not some damage, but it's appropriate. Let's check it, a fire test. That looks pretty good. Alright. Let's try enclosing this with a hand and see if it's going to break. Now, does anyone here think it's going to rupture this time? Looks like it will, right? Okay. Let's check our hypothesis. Use this time. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. Let's see what type of damage we have. Well, that's pretty burnt up. That's pretty much. Is it ruptured? It looks like it is.
So Judith, you just graduated junior high school?
Alright, let's try it. Alright. So did it rupture? I have no idea because this thing flew off my garage. I don't know where it is. It could be anywhere. One day I'll be walking to there barefoot and I'll find it. But, so I had the foggiest idea.
So which senior high school are you going to?
It's a lot of fun, but who holds a firecracker up to their eye and lets it explode? That is rare. But what I do see occasionally is a bottle rocket. Bottle rockets are quite dangerous because they fly high speeds and they projectile injury. They explode in the eye and they shrapnel injury. And one of the first injuries I saw was a new resident was a child that hit him with a bottle rocket. Fortunately, I found this one on the ground. And unfortunately, the thing had not ruptured either. So, gosh, I was getting impressed at this point. This eye's not exploding, but I am not willing to build a bomb in my garage to do its purpose. So, instead, what I did was I just threw it in some ice, and we'll just see what happens if it bites it, right? Yeah. And there is a purpose to this other than the gross factor. Because explosions cause compression.
Yeah, but which school do you want to go to?
And so we're going to create a blunt trauma where we're just compressing this eye until it pops. And when the eye ruptures, it seems to rupture at 2 points. It either ruptures at the limbus, which is easy to see, it's quite obvious, the iris is usually hanging out of the eye, and so you take the surgery. But the other place that these eyes tend to rupture is right at the insertion of the muscles into the eye itself. Now, the eye has a thickness, the square wall is about 1 millimeter. But right where the muscles insert, the thickness is about a third of that. I don't know why it's thicker there on the muscles are attached.
KTI.
It is. And so you're always worried about
KTI. What's KTI? Kumasi Technical Institute or whatever. What is that?
In summary, we have learned many things. We've learned that the eye is relatively peace, but can become damaged. We have learned that
oh, so I'm right.
especially dangerous to the eyeball. We have learned that bases truly are more dangerous than glasses. We've learned that lasers are relatively safe once you use high power lenses. finally let your eyes
And I'm not so bad.
But I hope you found this interesting. And I caution you not to try any of these experiments at home, as I almost said many times. But I'd like to thank you for your time today. Thanks.
I have a feeling you're pulling my legs.
Feels good. Anyway, let's start with eye tricks. Now, has anyone here seen The Prestige? Hugh Jackman movie. I think Christian Bale's in it. Michael Caine. Well, the idea is that it's a story about two magicians who are rivals at the turn of the century in sort of I guess it's London. But Michael Caine teaches them how to do magic. And he tells
So
them
what
every
you want
magic
to
trick has
become
three
in,
parts. The first
what you
part
want to do in uni?
is the pledge. You show an ordinary object. The second part is the turn. You take that object, you do something to it, you make it disappear, you make it levitate, something happens to it. And the final part of that trick is the prestige, and that's when you bring it back. And that is the technical, the most difficult part.
I like when my mechanical pencils act so
if we were to
dark.
summarize, the pledge, perfectly ordinary quarter. The turn, take that quarter, make it disappear. And the prestige is when you make it come back. So, why do I mention this? Well, I mention it because I used to do magic, as most young lads do at some point in their life, and I have never heard of these terms. The pledge, the turn, prestige, what is this? I personally think that the writer of this movie, Christian Priest, made these things up. And so I thought to myself, well, why can't I make up some things? I mean, they have lots of terms. If you're a poker player, you have like the hotel. If you're a con artist, there's the grift, the grifters.
So what uni do you want to go to?
Terms. And I want to show you a very disturbing patient. We've all had a patient like this, something insane in the brain or something wrong with their get along. But they come in and they say, you know, my vision's terrible, I can't see a thing. And they act very, very suspicious. This one more than most. So what tricks can we use in order to figure out what's going on? Well, the first thing is to do this. Realize that the vision, the number one vital sign, if you will, is the cornerstone. It's not a sign. It's objective, but yes. Is the cornerstone of our exam. And the problem is it's objective. What one person's I can't see, we know is much different than another person's. So, series of tricks. Trick number one, the handoff. So, you hand them something, and do they grab it? If they grab it, you know they can see it. I can't see a thing. Is there something in front of me? This is the handoff. You can do the same thing with a shake. Hey, how you doing? And if they shake your
Can I
hand,
repeat
goes
what?
to the new trick. That's the handoff.
I was asking what uni you want to go
Someone says,
to.
I can't see a thing out of my right eye. It's complete blackness, and they have.
Is that what you mean by
absolutely
repeat
no
it?
physical change at all. That's physically impossible. We'll come back to this one in a little bit more detail. Optokinetic drum. Do you guys have these in your clinics? Well, at Nemours you probably do because we use this all the time with pediatrics. But the idea is you take a drum with striped lines and you spin it in front of the patient, and it's almost impossible not to track a slow pursuit and then saccade and continue following that. If you've ever ridden in a bus, look at the people sitting across the aisle from you, you'll see their eyes are tripping like they have nystagmus, the optokinetic response. Now, if you don't have a drum,
I like the
you
way
might have
my
an optokinetic
drawing is
flag,
coming out.
like we use in my clinic. It takes up much less space. Sometimes we play Where's Waldo? But it does the same effect if I was to get closer to you guys. I can see your eyes jerking left and right, up and down. And if you can see an optokinetic drum or a flag, then by definition your vision is probably 2200 or better.
Oh, okay. So I was asking what uni you want to go to. What university? And what do you want to do in university?
They can't see nothing. You try to trick them with a handoff, nothing. The mirror test will break down anyone. I'm very good at faking blindness. I can't last more than 10 minutes, or 10 seconds actually doing this. You hold a mirror in front of them and you move it back and forth, back and forth. It's impossible not to track an object. And if you look at their eyes and it moves in synchrony with your mirror going left and right, up and down, then they can see something. The flick. Flick your fingers at them. Do they blink? Sometimes I do the flick with light. Instead of flicking my fingers, I'll turn my high beam up to 11, like spinal tapping, where they have the amplifier goes up to 11. Well, I ain't mine up to 11 and shoot in the eyes, and if they can't see
Okay.
they're going to react. The magic lens. This is a little bit more subtle. Let's say you have someone that says, I just can't see very well. They can't get them to read the 2400 line on that near card. You give them a lens. Give them a really powerful one. Tell them this is
For a
really
second, I
strong
thought you
lens
were
with
white.
+8 diopters. It's incredible. Hold this thing as close as you want. If they can get down on that card pretty well, then they can see pretty well. Because a lens, 8 diopters, I think the magnification of the lens equation is 1/4 of the lens power. Yeah, it magnifies things twice as much, but still, if they improve a lot, then you know there's something going on upstairs. Stereo confusion. I can't see at all in my left eye at all. Can't see nothing. Well, you put those stereo glasses on. You say, hey, can you read the dots? Well, you can see the first dot. You can kind of figure out with one eye only because it doesn't work.
Your
with
profile
one. If you get down
picture.
to the second or third row, if they can read those things, then you have to start wondering if really they can see. The finger touch. This is a pretty good one.
And then
Someone
you
says
said
they
you
can't
only
see you, and you say,
spoke
all right,
English.
Hold your hands out. Try to get your fingers together. This is a proprioception task. It has nothing to do with vision. See, I can do it with my eyes closed. If they're doing this, you have to start thinking there's something else going on. Maybe they've had a stroke. I don't know. Eye popping. This is not so much the malingerers or the fictitious disorder, but this is something you see with children. We all know blink to light, fix and follow. Well, there is a reflex seen in infants called eye popping. You turn the light off and their eyes open. The opposite of the blink to light is the open to dark. Eye popping reflex. Check that with the babies if you're having a hard time with the blink to light. Pinhole Pam, very useful test. Do you guys use a potential acuity meter, a crazy thing mounts on a slit lamp? Very hard to use. You got to plug it in. The doctor tells you to get it because they don't have to do it. Okay. Well, this is an alternative that I prefer. Basically, you can do the same thing with a pinhole. Basically, have them look for a pinhole, hold the card with whatever they want. Extremely bright light to light up those letters and turn the lights off. The room lights have got to be off. But if you have a very bright signal coming through a pinhole, that will often work just as well as the more fancy pinhole or Pam acuity meter. Color caps. You got someone comes in and they have a wicked cataract.
I was in WAD today.
White, rock,
Came
diamond
home.
in the eye. You have no idea where they can see. Pinhole Pam doesn't give you anything. They can't see hand motion. They can
You like whose song so much?
Well, one way you can do to get a better idea of what their visual potential is the color cap. Take those red caps off, put it on a muscle light, see if they can see red. And can they tell the difference between red, blue, green? That's not a whole lot of information, but it is something. It tells you a little bit of info. They can see color discrimination and something. The photoptic phenomenon. There may be another name for this. I've actually looked to see if I could find this written anywhere, and I can't find it. But here's the idea. You have a patient who has a 4+ cataract, they can't see anything. You hold a light up very close to their eye, shoot the light into the eye, through the walls of the eye, and say, can you see little squiggly lines? Can you see your blood vessels back there? Can you see anything? Now, unfortunately, most of the patients that have these bad cataracts are not familiar with it enough to really tell us this. But here's how it works. And you may have noticed this yourself if you've ever had an exam under a slit lamp. Sometimes I can see my blood vessels back there. Here's how it works. Realize that the retina in the back of the eye is a flat film, and your blood vessels course over it like they're hovering over that film. Normally, light comes in the front of the eye in one direction only. It's not coming inside, it's going straight through the pupil in. And so the shadow that falls on your retina is always in the same place. Because it's always there, you don't notice it. Is anyone here consciously thinking about how their shirt is rubbing on their left shoulder? No. Because it's there long enough and habituate, our body gets used to it, the signal's no longer there, we don't even realize it. The same thing happens inside the eye.
Well, I can actually see the picture,
you never see them.
so I don't really know
You take the light and you shoot it
what's in the
slightly
pic.
different direction. The shadow shifts its location on the retina, and all of a sudden, boom, you can see those shadows inside your eye by shooting the light in a different direction. It's called the photoptic phenomenon. If they can see their blood vessels, that tells you a little bit more info. They got some vision back there. Something's going on. All right, let's get off vision and talk a little bit about some neuro tests we do. Now, we all have a patient who will come in with a bad stroke. They've completely lost vision in one half of their body. They can't see anything off to the left. The question is always, is this a lesion that involves the macula or not? And it's hard to tell because people have the amazing ability to, when they're trying to read the letters on the chart, their eyes are caught up and down, left and right, and they can kind of read the letters by moving their eyes around, and they do very good. But macula involving or not is kind of an important distinction. It affects a lot of things, driving, etc., and it tells you where the lesion's at. You have to knock out a lot of your brain to knock out the macula, because so much of the occipital cortex in the back of the head is responsible for that fine central vision. So, how do you measure it? I do the pencil test. I say, here's a pencil, and on one end is the tip, and on the other end is the eraser. I want you to look right at my nose, keep looking at my nose. All right, I'm going to bring it in. What do you see first? You see the eraser? And they say, eraser. And they say, I see the tip, and I see the eraser. You know, it goes right through the macula. They're not seeing it until that thing crosses right over the midline. A little bit more accurate than saying, can you count my fingers, one or two? So, this is the pencil test to detect macula sparing or not lesions. Kind of useful. Neglect. Someone may have a stroke, and the question always becomes, are they not seeing everything to the left? Or do they not realize the world exists onto the left? Which happens. It happens a lot. I mean, there's been case reports of people having a stroke, and they keep falling out of their bed, and they finally realize it's because the patient thinks that there's some stranger on that part of their bed. They push their legs off, but it's their leg, and so they follow it. This happens. And so they neglect half their world. This is a big deal. Someone who may have lost half their vision on the left may be safe to drive because they supply and they adapt to it, but if someone neglects the left half of the world, you don't want them driving because they're not
Hola, Pedro.
going to realize traffic's coming at them. So how do you test it? The pencil test.
¿Cómo estás?
You say, I want you to point to the exact middle of this pencil. Point right in the middle. They point way off to the side. You have to
¿De dónde eres?
ignoring the left half of the pencil. They don't even realize it's there. So,
Amiguito.
hemifield neglect, you can also use a pencil. Hertel, we all know how to use a Hertel, right? The Hertel X.
Hello, Judith.
Okay. Well, not much to this trick. Basically, the goal of the Hertel is get those things as close to the lateral canthus as you can without touching the eye. And then you read the base, and you make sure that base is consistent, and you measure how far out.
Hola, Aaron.
Not much of a trick there. Except clean one. Sinus
Hablas
pressure.
español.
Headaches. 3 things in medicine we're not good at diagnosing or treating. Low back pain, chronic fatigue, and headaches. We all get headaches. We get a lot of patients that come to the eye clinic. Maybe the eyes are causing
¿Estás ahí,
Well,
Pedro?
usually not. Not that many things can cause headaches.
Sí, dime.
One of the things I see
¿De dónde eres?
is sinus pressure causing pain around the eyes. You can push on the sinuses. Push up underneath the eyelid. Bone right there. That's the frontal sinus. We all have sinuses. We have them so our heads don't weigh too much. Little air pockets. We also have them so when we face plane into brick walls, we have a little crush zone. It's our bumper. But sometimes they get infected and pressure goes up and it causes headaches, and then you get referred pain is to the eyes, and then from the eye doctor, sinus pain, send them to an ENT or whatever. Myasthenia gravis, and thyroid disease are the great masqueraders of the eye. They cause double vision, blurry vision, droopy eyelids, open eyelids, change, wax and wane. They come in, they got crossed eyes. They come in, they've got wall eye. They come in, they've got a right hypertropia. The next day, they have the left eyelid down. These things are often from myasthenia gravis or thyroid, so we check these things. So, patient comes in, and they say, my eyes get droopy. At the end of the day, do the up gaze test. You hold your arm up, and you have them look up, and you say, who gets tired first, their eyelids or your arm? And if their eyelids get droopier and droopier and droopier and droopier, you have to start thinking about myasthenia gravis, which is a disease characterized by fatigue and necrosis. The more you do something, the more you use the muscle, the tighter and tighter it gets.
Yes, I speak English. What about you?
Eye complaints, because the more they use their eyes, the tighter and tighter.
I thought you were
it gets.
Spanish
At the end of the day,
because you call Pedro.
diet, difficulty swallowing, aspirating pneumonia. So it's an important.
I had a friend called Pedro, you know.
So up gaze test.
I mean, it's been a while we spoke. I think it's about 6 years now since we last
And you say, all right, we're going to put this
got
bag
in
of ice on your
contact.
eye. Close both your eyes. We're going to walk away and see 10 other patients. When we come back in 30 minutes, we want you to take the ice off,
I mean, he was a funny
open
dude.
your eyes, and let's see what we see. And don't let them open their eyes before.
Very
Don't
good
say,
guy.
oh, you can open your other eye if you want. Both eyes must be closed. This is a rest test. By resting, you let the acetylcholine build in the synaptic cleft.
Hello, Davis. What's up?
Come back, you take the ice off, and your eye is open. It's gone away. I assume is way up on the differential. Pursue neurology, get some lab work, maybe some EMG studies.
Thank you, Pedro.
The final trick I want to talk about this first little section is called eye dominance. This is not much of a trick.
I hope you subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot. And then I actually thought you spoke Spanish.
You want to do the non-dominant eye, so you're not messing with the good eye. And so you say, you know what, take your hands, make a little circle, stretch your arms out as wide as you can. Look at my nose. Look at my nose.
Charlie.
That patient is right eye dominant.
I'm also good though. I have to do and sleep because I have to go to work later.
So let's do the left eye first. We'll leave the good eye alone. Make sure that other eye is more first. So, conclusion for this first little section. A lot of tricks. Maybe you're already using them. But I hope you find some of these useful. And it's nice to know them so you can pull them out of your hat as needed. Thank you. All right, are we ready for the last one? This is just going to be a 15-minute talk. It should be short, it should be entertaining. Comparative anatomy. This is my dog. His name is Noah. He's about 9 months old. I got him in a rescue in Tennessee, but his favorite game is actually chasing a laser pointer. He loves that thing. If I let that laser pointer go, he'll do this for hours. But he's fascinated by it. And he's quite cute. But when I was preparing this presentation, I thought to myself, what better way to learn more about the human eye than maybe look at some of the other eyes out there in the animal kingdom, compare them to how we see them, and maybe learn a little bit more about ourselves. So our plan today is to learn about
See this guy. Get a commission.
Moving on, we'll examine some alternative eye designs found out there.
Get your girlfriend a commission, eh?
So learning more about ourselves and disorders of the vision. So, step one is progression of lens complexity. Now,
Wouldn't she be happy for that?
Evolutionist, or subscribe to a creationist view of the world. There's no doubt that there is
it's 3 a.m.
complexity to the eye, starting from the simple eye spot of single-celled organisms, moving on to the highly.
I'll have to go to sleep by 3:15. Get some 4 to 5 hours
And
sleep,
if you look at these eyes,
so I can go to work.
So what is an eye, by the way? It's like an earthworm, and earthworms have kind of eyes, not the traditional eyes that we think of, but they do have little spots on the surface of their body that can detect light, which is quite important because it keeps them away from the surface and predators that might want to eat it. To prove this, I did a little experiment. Ordered a pizza.
Aaron, is that true?
And got them kind of wet. Then went to the local bait store and got some red worms and put them on this little area here. And speeding this up, obviously don't move that quick. Put a light bulb on, put half of this pizza box in dark.
Boys.
And some of the worms are confused. They look for
Boys.
They can't find any soil to get under. But after about 15 minutes of this, the majority of those worms have found themselves in the dark part of the box using their light sensors. Many of them found their way underneath the tissue as well to get even darker, warmer, and wetter. This is another experiment looking at a much simpler organism. This is called a euglena. You can buy these online. They're commonly used in science experiments and in schools. But they're single-celled organisms, and they're what we call proteins.
Shout out to Pedro Rosario. Why are you from Rosario?
Plant in them. They're animal in the sense that they can eat other organisms. That little stuff floating in the background is the culture media and stuff it's eating. But it also has all these green pigments inside it. Those are chloroplasts. It can synthesize light and turn light into energy, just like a plant. Also, it has a little flagella, a little whip-like cord in front of it, and it basically uses that to find light. If we stop one, this runs an idle speed. You can see that little red spot. That is an eye spot. A simple light sensor inside the eye that when it is activated.
Nah, but where are you originally from, Pedro? All right, Pedro here.
And the idea is that light spot, because this organism is clear, you have to somehow block the light from one direction.
Where are you originally from?
But
The name Pedro is of, Latino origin.
It pulls it forward and it pulls it towards light by random movements and eventually finds its way to the surface of ponds so that it can absorb light from the sun.
Dominican.
Through this to you, we're going to do another little.
Why don't you speak Spanish?
Culture with a whole bunch of euglena. We'll put this in a petri dish, and it's very well mixed up, which is why it has a sort of a general greenish structure. Let's cover this with a cover where some light can get through that little triangle. Hold this under a light, leave it there for about 30 minutes. and we'll see what happens when we take
Davis, then say they lie.
And these guys have accumulated mostly in the center of this petri dish. They move quite fast. For the size of their body, they're really very quick.
What do you mean you don't know? Your parents don't
All right. So far,
how
we just talked about a light spot.
speak Spanish to you?
Light on or off for the most part. But that has some usefulness. However, it doesn't give a lot of information. What if we take our spot of light and create a simple retina, I call it bowl of light, so that light hits the retina. Part of the light sensing structure, the retina, if you will, is illuminated targets in darkness. This gives us a lot more directional ability to detect where light's coming from. And so let's do another experiment. This is a simple organism that's also commonly used in high school and college biology classes. This is called the planaria. It's a flatworm that floats around in water, has two eye spots in the front that it can use to detect light and, for the most part, run away from light because it doesn't like it. Planaria are interesting because they have memory. They can learn things. You can train them to go down different pathways. They are also interesting because you can cut them in half or into many
Davis, then say they lie.
grow out a new planaria and with no real issues. This guy's not too happy because I cut him in half.
So we sure did that.
But don't worry, he's not too mad at us. In fact, he's waving at us right now. Hey, hello.
Sometimes she's part of the live. Live.
Well, let's do another experiment with this planaria. Here's a petri dish with many of them floating in it. And what I'm going to do is
Shout out to Pedro from Dominican Republic.
You see that most of them run away from it, and for the most part, accumulating in the petri dish on the far side. Right, they hit that light, they shoot down away from it. But the planaria.
Thank you for the sub, boy.
Now let's take our eye cup and further develop it. If we take our bowl and we start to enclose
well, you never know. The short if it be part of the life. Judith Cry doesn't believe you. Oh my goodness. Why is my Naruto looking feminine? Oh no, Pedro, she's not referring to you. Anyone else thinks my Naruto looks feminine? Oh my goodness. This is a big fail.
There is an animal out there that has a pinhole eye. This is called
Can I make this masculine?
It lives underwater and at night comes up to the reefs and eats food.
Yeah, but it looks feminine. I don't know if it's the whiskers or...
The largest pinhole eye that we know of in nature. This is basically just a big giant bowl with a retina back.
Or is it jawline?
Hole that light goes through. There's a couple problems with the pinhole eye. One of them
well.
The smaller the pinhole, in theory, the crisper the vision. But you reach a point where light
Davis, your enemies they here.
The bigger problem, especially for novice, though, is the amount of light getting inside the eye. A very small hole does not let very much light. If he's already underwater at night, you can't see a whole lot.
All right, Pedro. Thank you for joining. Catch you same time tomorrow, maybe.
So what if we create a simple lens system? Instead of a pinhole, we put in some type of focusing lens that lets much more light into the eye and tries to focus.
See this guy. You want reverse?
Simple lens pull off an eye.
I'm sorry.
Bad lens. It's not really focused for anything. But anything is better than nothing.
I'm sorry. You can't play the reverse card here.
Doesn't have to be in focus. Just the lens does help things tremendously. And we see this.
Not today. Okay, bye bye, Pedro. No sé por qué no hablas español. Pero está bien. Ciao. Bye bye.
All right. Our next evolution or complexity level is one of focus. What if we can focus our lens? And we see this, of course, in all fish. They have lenses that focus. In fact, if we take a shark,
are they shocked?
My barrage dissect an eye out. We see something kind of interesting. The lens of these fish is very round and very hard. Because they're underwater, they require a very strong magnifying glass to focus. And that's what we see here. And the way that they focus their eyes is that fish actually, the lens rotates forward and backwards. So it doesn't change shape like the human lens. It's flexible. It goes forward and back like a telescope. And that's how things are in focus. We see a similar technology used in the crystal lens. This is the implant that we occasionally use. The idea is by rotating it forward and back, it allows our patients to see both distance and near. It works for a short time, but long term it has some problems. Take our lens and make it flexible so it can change shape. And we have the basic human animal lens that we have here, changing shape. The lens itself can now control our focus. We also have an iris that can change shape and get some aperture control, a little bit of a pinhole effect in the front. And a combination of these two things is what allows us to see well on land. All right, alternative eye designs. We talked about how we're designed, but there are many other ways for organisms to see. For example, mirrors. So far we've talked about lens focusing things, but mirrors can focus as well. This is a scallop. These are those little clams that we eat when you don't have seafood, scallops. Scallops have eyes, they're very small. They're like little nodules running along the shell edge there. And those little nodules have mirrors inside them that focus light.
Facts. All right. I hear you. Or we hear you.
When I look at my dog during the day, he looks pretty.
How is Naruto looking like someone's shoddy? I mean, can you imagine?
At night, he kind of looks like this. Just a couple of lights, a couple of eyes looking at me. And the reason that they look like this is because they have a mirror inside their eye as well. It's called the tapetum lucidum. I'm
probably just because it's my first time drawing it.
Hits the retina, goes through the retina because the retina's clear.
Oh, I'm just so exhausted and tired.
Back and hits the retina twice. And so by doing that, your sensitivity to low light situations is vastly improved. The downside to the system is you lose some contrast. There's a lot of scattering of light inside there, and so things aren't quite as clear. But at night, the vision's fantastic. All right, another design.
Hello, Judith.
This is an Gatorland over in Orlando, and this alligator has a very interesting
I liking how my Naruto is coming out.
Why does it have this? Probably the biggest reason.
I think I enjoy drawing this.
Allows that slit to dilate very wide, but it can also contract to a very, very, very thin sliver, so that really minimizes the amount of light getting inside the eye.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
At night, but doesn't want to be blinded during the day like a cat or an alligator. It can make it very, very skinny. Much smaller aperture than we can manage anatomically with a round sphincter like people like we have. The other reason why
continue this tomorrow.
Format might actually help with color vision, especially in the evening. Here's the idea. Normally when light comes in the eye, it focuses to a single point, and that's how we see, or a single image in the back of the eye. However, there are aberrations in the eye.
Hello, Judith.
As well. White light is made of different colors. There's red, blue, green, and each color bends at a different rate. Blue light is a very short wave.
Charlie, how was your exams, you guys?
Focuses in front of the retina. Red light focuses behind the retina. And it's actually the spectrum. It's never quite in focus.
Have you guys spoiled it?
To prove it to you, these are red and blue letters. Which one looks like it's in front of the other? It looks like the red's in front of it. It's an optical illusion, right? And the reason it looks like the red's in front is because red light is focusing behind our retina. And what focuses behind? The things that are closer up focus behind it. That's why we need bifocals to pull forward back onto our retina. So red light is focusing behind us. This is why we do that duochrome test with the red and the green. The idea is if you can focus both of them so they're about equal, then you know that you've got your
great.
chromatic aberration focused generally on the
Charlie, I'll see you guys soon. All right.
Now,
have a good night.
Another way to get rid of
and thank you for joining my live.
Just throw out all those other colors. You're just seeing
bye.
And that's why things look crisper when we're wearing those yellow shooting glasses.
Bye bye, Judith. See you next time.
You lose a lot of color, but they do make things better. There's another way to get rid of